Welcome back to Snetterton for the final round of the MK2 Golf GTI Championship, with the title still to be decided between James Bark and Guy Stevens.
Well, I race in the 8-valve class. I've already won the 8-valve class championship, but to win the championship overall, I need a third-place finish today in my class, and that will guarantee me the full championship title.
And who's your biggest challenger?
Really, it's James Bark, who's in the 16-valve class. He's closest to me on points. So if he finishes, if he wins today, I then, have got to finish third. But for each place he's back, I can afford to shed a place. But anything can happen in motor racing, so I'm going for third as an absolute minimum.
Yeah, he's done well this year, guys. He's good. Well, he's a good driver. He's been struggling with the car mid-season, but this weekend I'm glad to see he's sort of pulled it out of the bag a bit. He's got a good bit out of his engine and his chassis, but he's good with setting the car up, so yeah, full credit to him.
I hit the barriers on the infield at about 85 miles an hour full frontal. My car was a complete write-off, and all the lads in the Golf GTI paddock came together. Our sponsors, Black Cherry Dub Spares, came up with all the spares I needed, complete front subframe, wings, bumpers, engine mountings, the lot, and everybody, big shout out to Franklin Motorsport, they came with all their body pressing gear, and we've got the car back on the track for the last race of the season.
Well, paddock camaraderie has always been a hallmark of the MK2 Golf GTI Championship. Now the cars taking to the grid for the final race of the season. Very full field, with Jamie Martin heading up in qualifying from Lewis Hopkins alongside him on front row of the grid. Row 2, James Bark and Luke Schlevitz. We're about ready for the off. The red lights come on now. We're in car with Adam Hart, who will ride with for the start. Lights go out and away we go. And Adam makes a good getaway here. He's going to squeeze past a couple of cars. It's looking very congested though as they accelerate over the start finish line. 4 abreast in the midfield. It's going to be closer to reach. We've got a car being tipped off in the background there. And over he goes. It's Frank Arthur onto his side. He's out of the race. Everybody else, though, into riches. Anthony Thieker in the thick of the midfield battles. Well, Frank, I'm glad to say, is completely unharmed. He's going to clamber out, possibly through the windscreen. It's very strong cars, these Golfs. So Frank Arthur well protected, unfortunately out of the race. Jamie Martin, though, in the lead of it from Lewis Hopkins and James Bark. Just about everybody else is jostling for position in car with Jamie Martin into Palmer for the first time, and that goes sideways, all arms and elbows, and he's lost in a big way across the grass. What a mistake for the pole sitter to make on the first lap of the race, and he is going to lose positions hand over fist here. He rejoins just past our camera car of Anthony Thieker, so a long way down the field there for Jamie Martin. He will be devastated with that. There is Frank Arthur out of the car, and a somewhat reluctant spectator as hopping onto 2 wheels go the new race leaders, Lewis Hopkins and James Bark. It's Hopkins, former catering champion in the red car, James Bark in the bright orange machine. And of course, James Bark is battling with Guy Stevens here for the championship. So the flashing orange lights signal that the safety car is out. That's why we've got the flatbed truck on track, so the cars form up behind the safety car. It's a very quick period. The safety car lights are out. We're about to get the restart underway here at Snetterton on the magnificent new 300 circuit. So who's going to pull the pin as they get away on the restart out of Burrows and onto the centre straight? And Lewis Hopkins trying to pull away here from James Bark within third position. Darren Bedford and then James Coulbourne in fourth. The green flag is waving. We go racing once more here. Snetterton in the MK2 Golf GTI Championship. Hopkins turns through riches with Bark in hot pursuit. The rest of the field forming a fairly orderly queue at this stage. Simon Gustafson, though, is onto 3 wheels. What a shot there. Shows how much fun you can have in these Golfs. And it should be said, this is one of the most affordable ways to go racing. Less than £10,000 a season, including buying your car to go competing in this category. And then you can have the fun like these drivers, Simon Gustafson and Adam Hart, having a good battle. It's Hart in the silver car just behind him, putting the pressure on to Gustafson as the leading trio turn through Palmer. No Jamie Martin repeat moment until we've got Peter Mill closing into the tail of James Coulbourne. It's Coulbourne in the car with a pink streak, and in car with Dawn Boyd. She's looking for a move there on Tim Cox into Montreal. That's going to be very close. Cox sees Dawn Boyd just in time, gives her racing room. Very clean championship this as well. The drivers really do give each other enough space. So Dawn Boyd, I don't think she was able to get through, but at least we avoided contact. As still Peter Mill looks to put the pressure onto James Coulbourne as they turn through Oggies and on to Williams. The green light there. Don't think the drivers need to telling that the race is underway as Alistair Sedwell has a near miss. Somebody goes bouncing across the curbs right in front of him onto 2 wheels. doesn't deter Sedwell at all. He is running well up in the top half of the field as Jamie Martin looks to recover up through the pack, following on from that earlier error. Hello to Claire, although I'm not sure that's what Jamie Martin will be thinking just at the moment, as he closes up on some of the cars just ahead of him. Still, we've got slipping and sliding, so he looks to try and squeeze through and go past Dan Gibbs, and I think it was Gibbs we saw from Sedwell's point of view bouncing across the curbs. So a lively race from Dan. It's the leading quintet though, just beginning to close up on each other here. This is golf racing at its very best. The cars so evenly matched that trying to close in on your competitor and then pick your way through is somewhat easier said than done. Although Andy Stenning in the number 30 car, in the thick of a very lively midfield battle there through the bomb hole. We've got Luke Schlevitz as well, just closing into the tail here of Peter Milne and James Colburn. So this is 4th, 5th and 6th positions over the curbs at Murray's. And it's Milne who is trying to close in on Colburn, but he's got Schlevitz there just on his tail to worry about. And in fact, Schlevitz, who's probably the closest position to challenge at the moment, the leading trio, flash across the line, and still James Bark keeping Lewis Hopkins very honest, although Guy Stevens at the moment is leading in Class 1. These cars are the Class 2 cars, the 16 valve class, and at the moment that means that Stevens takes the championship and James Bark will be runner-up, as he's currently positioned to do in the race. Into Montreal, Peter Milne closing once more onto the tail of James Colburn. This has been a real seesaw battle between the pair of them. And then it is Luke Schlevitz there in 3rd position as Anthony Thieker is taking his turn to close in behind Dan Gibbs. Are we going to see any more sideways moments from Dan? No, we're not, but instead Thieker gets a good run through Montreal, pulls alongside him and goes through. So Andy Warnes is also embroiled in battle, closing in. The car just had a nice line there through Riches from Andy as Jamie Martin looking to make a move, and Alistair Sedwell and gain the position up the inside into Agostini. Look at the steering lock, but through he goes. So another place gained from Jamie Martin as he looks to recover up through the field, wondering if he can get himself into the top 10 between now and the end of the race. James Colburn is seeing off the attention to Peter Milne, and anything is actually closing in on Darren Bedford. So Darren Bedford in 3rd, slipping back from James Bark in 2nd, and now under real pressure for that final podium position from James Colburn. But you'd say that if James starts to challenge Darren, then it's going to bring Peter Milne and Luke Schlevitz very much into the mix as well. So the 4 of them exit Nelson, accelerate on towards the bomb hole. Cambered right-hander, a very enjoyable corner for the drivers, not least because in the golf you can hop it onto 3 wheels, as James Colburn did there on to Coram. Then they will jink through Murray's to bring the lap to an end. Peter Milne though struggles through Coram. Every lap he seems to lose out to James Colburn, to bring in Luke Schlevitz into the mix to get another good battle going on behind with Adam Harns just ahead of that from Simon Gustafson, and Gustafson onto 3 wheels, but look at that for an angle, and he actually gained ground there on Adam Harns through Murray's as well. So super drone from Simon Gustafson as he closes on to the tail of Adam Harns. The leading duo, Lewis Hopkins and James Bark, are pushing so hard. That's a brilliant shot into the cockpit there, and James Bark so smooth on the wheel, turning into Riches, even though you know that he is driving at 100% through Montreal and then accelerating on towards Palm. Wherever you look in this race, there are battles going on because Gustafson is coming under pressure as he turns through Riches. It's Josh Johnson, the number 12 car, who's part of the pressure. Lick of flames sideways from Johnson. These drivers are really pushing very, very hard, but it's all clean and competitive stuff. Again, Gustafson onto 3 wheels. Eventually might want to look at the setup after the race for the Snetterton 300 circuit, although he's certainly having some fun, as is Dawn Boyd, who is trying to squeeze through on Anthony Thieker, and Dawn not quite able to do so. Instead we get a very good view of Anthony Thieker's rear bumper and Simon Gustafson, and why not, because he is, if nothing else, highly spectacular. Alistair Sedwell is also looking to improve up through the field. He's just trying to close in on to Darren Drury and Martin Walsh as well. Lee Bertram in that particular battle. Alistair Sedwell, I'm not sure it's going to be close enough to challenge into Agassi in the car in front of him. Looks to remove and goes through, gaining the position, and that's the detriment of Darren Drury. So Drury slips back a place in the number 7 car, although he looks to contest it into Hamilton. So unfortunately Andy Warnes is going no further. Well, we're into the closing stages here at Snetterton, and this is looking fairly emphatic for Lewis Hopkins. He's only got about 3 corners between himself and the checkered flag, and a very fine end to his 2011 campaign. But I still think the 3rd position is under dispute here because Darren Bedford's got James Colburn on his tail. Lights ablaze from James Colburn, just trying to put the pressure onto Bedford. Likewise, Peter Milne having to defend vigorously there from Luke Schlevitz. Got an excellent run out of Nelson, looking to the inside into the bomb hole, but Milne has got the track position. Again, he goes defensive to Coram, so Schlevitz looks to the outside, will try and challenge all the way around the outside through Coram go, which is what he does. What a spectacular move from Luke Schlevitz. Can he do it into Murray's? Right, the checkered flag ready and waiting, and it's James Bark. James Bark's going to take the flag. Why is that? Well, here's Hopkins, who's got a severe case of a fire. Look at the flames licking out from underneath the bonnet, and he's not going to get the podium. Would you believe it? Bedford and Colburn just pip him on the line. So Lewis Hopkins into 4th position, having led really all but 10 metres of the race since the safety car peeled in. There's the man who's won Class 1 and the championship overall, Guy Stevens. What a successful season he has had. Here are the final results, with James Bark taking the win from Darren Bedford and James Colburn. In Class 1 it was Guy Stevens from Clive Belton and Anthony Thieker as the drivers had handshakes all round on the podium. Cheers of the very sociable paddock community here in the Mark II Golf GTI Championship for our race winner, but championship runner-up James Bark. It's great to see at the end of the season the 2 championship class winners and the champion overall on the top step of the podium, celebrating with the champagne.
A good drive from you there. You snatched the win at the end. Unfortunately, Lewis dropping down the order.
Yeah, it's well, lucky on my part. I feel a bit bad for Lewis because he's done real well this season. He's pushed everyone on. He's been real quick, and same with Jamie. Really, it's unfortunate he had that incident on the first lap, but all the same, I'm quite happy to be honest. But yeah, it was a shame I had to win like that. But we found a lot more pace in the car. I was surprised I stayed with Lewis as well as I did, to be honest. So yeah, really chuffed.
Another happy man down here, and a new champion crowned.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been, you know, I nearly did it last year, but missed out at Snetterton as well. So yeah, it's good, and I only really, as I said earlier on, had to come 3rd. But you know, you just can't help it, can you? You're out there, and I saw Clive coming, and he was getting quicker, but I managed to just hold the gap. So yeah, no, very pleased, very, very pleased.
Well, it's been a great 2011 for the Super Pro VAG Trophy and Mark II Golf GTI Championship. Can look forward to plenty more action in 2012.